Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Hoybert, and today I have just reached Masterball Rank in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for the first time using the team that you see on screen. So this is what I call my attrition team. This team features Toxapex, Grimmsnarl, Ceruledge, Misdreavus, Goodra, and Orthworm. It's actually very similar to a team that I used to get Masterball Rank for the first time in Sword and Shield 3 years ago. So essentially what this team aims to do is it aims to focus on defense, whittling your opponent down slowly over time. So the most reliable lead that I've found so far is Grimmsnarl and Misdreavus, usually leading with Fake Out or Screens Pressure, and then Misdreavus can set up Trick Room. After this, your main win conditions will be Toxapex or Orthworm. Orthworm setting up Iron Defense, and then body pressing enemies for massive damage. Toxapex, on the other hand, setting up Toxic and Infestation, which Toxic does ramping damage, and then Infestation does 1/8 of the opponent's health each turn, and additionally traps them so they cannot switch out. So this combination is really lethal, as you can Toxic and Infestation them, so they can't pivot out to reset the Toxic timer, so it continuously ramps up. The damage gets insane, and combining that with its Black Sludge recovery and its ability to Baneful Bunker and then recover, Baneful Bunker and recover, Toxapex can easily wall a lot of Pokemon, specifically if they don't have super effective damage into it. Ceruledge is the 5th addition to our team. It is Flash Fire with the Assault Vest item, and it has the Terra Steel type, and this allows it to turn itself into the Steel type with its Fire type immunity with Flash Fire, meaning it only has 2 weaknesses, Fighting and Ground. Fighting, which it normally would immune, meaning they are extremely unlikely to go for Fighting type moves when you Terastallize. Grass type probably would be the right way to go, but the temptation of using Terra Steel with Flash Fire was too great, because that's going to be 10 resistances and 2 immunities, so it sounds good to me. Ceruledge also has really good type synergy with Orthworm, as Orthworm has Steel typing, and then it specifically has the Earth Eater ability, which makes it immune to ground type moves. And Ceruledge has the Ghost typing and the Flash Fire ability, meaning that it's immune to Fighting and Fire type moves, which are the only weaknesses that Orthworm has. Additionally, Misdreavus with the Levitate ability also is immune to the ground type move, which helps a lot for Toxapex and Ceruledge. So there's a lot of defensive synergy typing wise here. And then our final Pokemon is Goodra. Goodra has the Sap Sipper ability, which makes it immune to the grass type. It has extremely high special defense, which in combination with its Sap Sipper ability and its typing in Dragon makes it the perfect counter into Sun teams, as they can't Sleep Powder it, they can't hit it with grass type moves, their fire type moves like Eruption are going to do practically nothing, and that allows Goodra to go for super effective flamethrowers into their grass types and Draco Meteor into their Pokemon like Torkoal, which is going to do significant damage as it has low special defense, and it can just life dew through the pain. So that is the team. Misdreavus has the Electric Terror type, which in combination with Levitate can effectively turn it into having no weaknesses, which is really powerful. In combination with Screens, it means that you're almost certainly guaranteed to get Trick Room up, and then following Trick Room you have the option to Pain Split and potentially recover a lot of your HP from some high health enemies like Garchomp, or Will-O-Wisp to reduce the power of physical type Pokemon. In tandem with that, you have Grimmsnarl, which can be going for Screens, it can go for Spirit Breaks. Fake Out Pressure is extremely valuable in delaying setup and allowing myself to get things set up. Orthworm has the Fighting Terra type. Now defensively there are definitely better types, but the reason that I chose Fighting is because, for one, Orthworm's primary attack and nearly only attack is Body Press, and having Terra Fighting allows you to up the power if you need it and really smack somebody. So I've only had to do this a couple of times, but it has been extremely useful, as a +2 Iron Defense Orthworm with Body Press does a lot. Having Stab with that will do a ton of damage. And the cool thing is, with Terra types, you don't necessarily need to resist your weaknesses to get a lot of value. Terastallizing into the Fighting type will reduce the damage of incoming ground, well, not ground, I suppose, because you have Earth Eater, but it will reduce the incoming damage of fire and fighting type moves by 50%, because you're taking a weakness and turning it into a neutral hit by changing into the fighting type. So while, yeah, you're not resisting the damage, you're still reducing it by 50%, which is a lot. So that was my reasoning for that. You can have a little bit more offense. You don't really need to Terastallize Orthworm much, because with its Steel typing and Earth Eater, there's not a whole lot that hits it for much damage anyways. So it's there as an option. Goodra doesn't even have a Terra type because its pretty much just there as a sun answer. If I had to add one, I would probably add the water type, just because it would allow you to resist the ice type move, and honestly dragon type attacks aren't that big a deal, and the water would allow you to just, similar to Orthworm, turn that weakness into a neutral hit, which is a 50% damage reduction, and allow you to counter with a Draco Meteor. And I'm really not super concerned with dragon type damage on this team all around, so I think that would be what I would go with eventually. But Terra Shards are just so hard to come by that I didn't think it was worth it, which is similar with Toxapex. Like, you're just not really in a position where you need to terrestrialize with these two Pokemon, specifically with Toxapex, because we are running the Black Sludge item. The only Terra type that we'd really care for much would be Poison, just to turn off our water type in situations where we're facing electric type Pokemon, but even then we usually have better Terra options. Ceruledge with the Assault Vest was the best set that I could find. We initially had Arcanine on the team in its place, but because of the Clear Amulet ability specifically, among other things, Intimidate just didn't feel quite as powerful or necessary as it has in the past. So I ended up replacing with Ceruledge, one, because Ceruledge brings a lot of cool things to the table, but two, Ceruledge is easily one of the coolest Pokemon they've introduced in Scarlet and Violet, and possibly one of the coolest Pokemon ever designed, in my opinion. So being able to feature it this early in the format, I was extremely excited. So we had to get it in here, and then Shadow Sneak and Bitterblade are super cool. So Shadow Sneak is there because we were a little concerned with our matchup into Choice Scarf Annihilate using Final Gambit, as it can effectively one-hit KO 4 of my 6 Pokemon, and that's a little bit of a problem because with a team like this, having all of your Pokemon alive is a huge asset for pivoting around due to our high defensive capabilities. So losing a piece like that immediately is not the best, so allowing you to have Stab super effective Shadow Sneak into Annihilate cuts its HP down by around 40 to 48%, which puts the damage of Final Gambit to around 110, 117, something in that range, and that is easily survivable by all of my Pokemon, and I can recover off a lot of that damage. So that's a big strength for Ceruledge. In addition to this, Ceruledge is just hard to hit. Like, it has really good defensive synergy with Orthworm, as Orthworm is only weak to fighting and fire, and Ceruledge immunes both fighting and fire. But also with the Steel Terra type, it's able to maintain its fire immunity while gaining the Steel type, which is 10 resistances and an immunity. So with Flash Fire, that's 10 resistances and 2 immunities, leaving only 6 types that can hit it for neutral or better. And that's pretty cool. Bitterblade with Assault Vest just allows it to tank special attacks and just retaliate with pretty solid damage and heal back a lot of it. Iron Head just allows you to get some different coverage and stab, flinch chance, brick break in case the opponent has screens. You can break those screens and continue dealing good damage. Also gives it good fighting type coverage, which is nice against things like Hydreigon and other Pokemon, of course. There's also one move that I haven't touched on here, and that's Metal Burst. So Metal Burst is an item, is a move that you don't see used at all, and it's a tricky one. I only think I used it a couple of times the whole time I was using this team, but I think it's important because Body Press can't hit all Pokemon, and Orthworm's attack stat is not very high. So having a move like Iron Head on there isn't particularly valuable, as your only use for using it would really just be hitting Ghost types, as otherwise you would be Body Pressing. Even if the Pokemon resists it, it's probably going to do more than Iron Head. So why Metal Burst? And what does it even do? Metal Burst is like Counter or Mirror Coat, but instead of being specific to a physical attack or a special attack, it is affected by both. So if you take damage and use Metal Burst, you will reflect damage back equal to damage taken. Instead of 200% like Counter and Mirror Coat though, it's only 150% as it affects both. But 150% of damage taken reflected back is a ton. It effectively means that even if a Pokemon like Goldango is facing down Orthworm in a 1v1 at the end game, I can't hit it with Body Press, I can still use Metal Burst. And between Metal Burst, Leftovers, and Protect, most of the time Orthworm will come out on top. If they do anything more than 66% of your health in a single hit, you can Metal Burst and one-hit KO them in return, depending on their HP, of course, but generally. And if they do less than that, then between Leftovers, Recovery, and Protect, you can probably survive a second attack and then Metal Burst them again. So that's the idea. It just gives Orthworm another means of offense. And if they just let it sit around, it can just start, body pressing anything that's not a ghost type. So that's the idea. Overall, I think this team is just a ton of fun. It focuses a lot on defense, and I think it's a really valuable team for practicing good positioning, as with its emphasis on defense, its defensive positioning, good positioning, is your only way to win. You're not threatening much immediate damage, So it makes you have to hyper focus on what your opponent has as options instead of what you can necessarily do. Like, you're essentially playing chess with them, trying to figure out how to counter whatever they can do instead of just focusing on sweeping, right? So battles will last longer. This isn't necessarily the best team to climb with. The main reason that I chose this team instead of the other two teams that I was running, which the first team I was running was a rain team featuring like Pelipper, Beartic, Kilowattrel, Raichu, Dondozo, and Tatsugiri, was the team was great. It was a lot of fun, but the problem I was having was specifically running into Choice Band Dragonite, which when I was using it was extremely popular, and I think it still is fairly popular, just not quite as popular anymore, because Extreme Speed was just one-hit KOing things like Pelipper, it was one-hit KOing Raichu, was one-hit KOing Kilowattrel, and I think Beartic might have been able to live it, but it was close. So that wasn't good. That was a big problem, so I pivoted away to a different team, which is my Murkrow team, which Murkrow is one of my favorite Pokemon to use in VGC of all time. So we were having fun with our Murkrow team, and then Murkrow got really popular, and I got sick of playing the mirror matches all the time. So we pivoted to this, and this is the team. Like, we climbed to around like mid to high Great Ball with Murkrow, and then we pivoted over to this team because we were just getting sick of the mirror matches. And this team is what brought us over the line, and it was a ton of fun. We didn't actually take many losses. We might have only taken like maybe 1 or 2 losses the entire time we were using this team. Not that there weren't close matches necessarily, but we encountered a lot of bad RNG and still prevailed, which is just so much fun. I usually try to I tend to stay away from RNG as much as possible. Like, any moves with low accuracy I will not use unless they are absolutely the right choice. So on this team I do have Draco Meteor and Will-O-Wisp. Ideally I wouldn't, but they are by far the best choice to have. So it is what it is. You are gonna miss, and you've already seen it miss if you're watching this video, so that's how it goes. But overall, this team is just a ton of fun. I'd recommend you try it out, if nothing else, just to see how well you can position yourself. If you do try it out, let me know how you like it. Let me know how your battles go. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll catch you in the next one.